Good morning. How are you today? Discoveries, discoveries. Back to this book. Okay, now that it's lighter, things are getting hot, a little cloudy. What do you see that I don't see? My imagination can see much. It's the creation, the assumption, the coincidence that ties it all together. That's all I do. I mix and I match. I am actually, um, if I mix and match, that means that is my job. People do it in the clothing business. I do it with situations. Every placement of anything you ever see always has a position for a reason. It didn't get there for no reason at all. And eventually the system became a pattern. And the pattern we see is ABC 1, 2, 3. It's only a pattern. If it wasn't like that, it would be different than what we would see now. Then it would be a difference. When you see 7286, what are you actually looking for? Well, in all actuality, you have to understand that there are actually 5 numbers there. Okay, 4 numbers. Okay, is explanation, because the 4th row of the telephone is the star, the 0, and the 9 lives of the cat. In the dog pound, in the world of the electronic machines, where man is the ends of every machine, where he can make the proper assumption of correction over any other robot. Because at the last minute, he sees the man as good, so he doesn't shoot. But the robot, he's got A or B. Sometimes he doesn't have time to decide. Because computers are fast, that's what they're made to do. They're made to go fast. Okay? So the man had to slow it down a little bit. So instead of having a Superman computer, they had us in the correctional world. What I want to show you about this here is that, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now look at the way the candles, okay, are made. If you take a look at the top, I mean, there's so much expression in here. You see the 2 corners at the top? Those are the connecting corners. What happens, okay, I'm assuming, okay, what the rainbow means, okay, is that on the 6 dice, I wish I had an hour to sit here, I'm always rushing. On the 6 dice, in which really doesn't exist, only the 1 and 2 dice exist. Alpha, beta. You turn the 1 and the 2 within each other, and then you get the 4 dice. You get the 5 dice. But the 6 dice does not exist at all. The only way for the 6 dice to exist is to stand it up like this on an angle. That's the only way the 6. That way this corner here, okay, would be in the alley range below the top ear and the bottom here. You know what I'm saying? In tic-tac-toe on your telephone keyboard, 1, 2, 3. If it would be this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't exist on the dice. 1 and 2 exist. It creates 3, 4, 5. 6 doesn't exist unless you turn it like this. 45-degree angle. Isn't that the way the rain falls? Everything is about 4 and 5. Everything. 45, 10, 55, 28. The 4 basics. Oh, and 46. Oh, and 19 and 37. Or 19 and 73. Okay, all these combinations, they come right off your telephone. Okay, it's the way things connect on the phone. According to that pattern, what I did is I took the pattern of the telephone, of the early telephone, of the rotary dial, and then I went on to where they had the square buttons and the round buttons and the funny phones. And always in the bottom of the phone, they still returned with the star key, the all-famous star key that connects. But when you see the star key, it usually only shows you 6 points. And then on the ambulance, the star and the ambulance shows you another 6 points. Okay? The first one shows you 6 points like this on the ambulance. But on the telephone, it usually shows you 6 points like this. This, okay, if you really want to see what it is, okay, I'm going to finish it off. Okay, I'm going to try and explain the picture. Okay, that, this way, the way of the world, is 2 rings of an hourglass, creating the 6 dice. It connects 4 worlds, okay, or 2 worlds from the north to 2 worlds of the south, but there's a yin and a yang to everything. So everything has to have at least 2, and then 2 sides of the universe is 4, and then the created world is 5, and then the created world goes with 6 and 7, 5, 6, 7. They sort of go together because the 5 connects them. Okay, so what I actually designed here is I took that 6-point star key and I turned it into this. Okay, now this on the roulette board, okay, I'm uncertain of the position of this, but of the square I'm very certain. Okay, the square on this, if I believe, goes from the center of, screw me, I don't remember, 14. Anyways, it's on the roulette board, this thing here. I have to remember it now. What did I do here? What did I do? The roulette board is like this. Sorry, I'm in a rush. Can't rush, don't like to rush. Anyways, again, we're back to the star key right here. Okay, now when you see that on the telephone, it says 147. 147, 1 month of February, 4 months of 30 days, 7 months of 31. It's expression of each number. God, okay, is a system. The system creates a 7. Why does the system create a 7? Because if it was a laboratory, you would say, we need the 1 connection room, we need the spirit. Then what we need is we need the beta spirit, so we can make creation between the 2. Those 2 have to be put together to make the creation. So you get the 3rd room, the creation. Therefore, this creation gets its own room and does its own creation after. That's why it's a 4x4 truck creation. So what happens on a 6 dice, I'm going to try and show you, is the warp. I call it the warp. Oh boy, where's it? Okay, now you see the 6 dice with the 1 in the center is the 7. What happens is I have to pull 2 worlds from the same side into the 5 slot and pull it back like tying down a boat. So what I'm going to do is there. So I took that. Should I make it, how would you like to look at it? You want to see? So I pulled back the worlds onto itself. I pulled the world over, okay, using that slot. Then you go ahead and you pull the other side of the world over into that 5 slot. That's what creates the beta world, and on that beta world places life, which is man, which is the 2 dots that are not connected. That's the bridge across. That creates the H, okay? And at the same time, once you've pulled both these worlds together, now you insert what I call the O-ring. And the O-ring, okay, in all actuality, turn out to look like this in the center. The I letter. Okay, 2 ways of seeing the I. One is the way the Honda would make it, or Hyundai. One would be the columns that we see. One is the letter I, but doesn't I have a dot? Well, don't you see a stand? Where there's a stand, there's no dot, because the dot is in the midsection, okay? The dot is in the midsection. It's the belt. The belt man wears around his waist because we are belted in. We're tied down like boats. Everything. How come I know this? Why do I see it so clearly? Because it matches up coincidentally to things that go on in my daily routine life of 24 hours of man free the myth of Zazaric, of understanding what this world is actually is. And we live the is in this world, for this is in this world is the same reality of our is in this world as it is God's is I, S, the I birth of man who walks the earth, the I birth of man, the spirit of man. Do you think I can actually put this together myself? Let me explain to you something. Okay, when you create the heavens in the letter H, can you imagine splitting it in half and having two C's? Okay, creation, command and create. The C is the third letter. Two worlds, CC, a 3, 3, 6. We put the connecting world is 7. We now have man 7. Now man's birth brings him to life of the heavens is 8, plus the connection, 9. Our rebirth into the heavens is 10, and that is what you see in the 10 card when you look at it. And life is all perfectly done. You see just the word of perfect. It's 10. That's what it's supposed to mean. There's many signs. Let me see if I can show you this. A little design I made. Okay, now what you actually see there, okay, there is a place on the roulette wheel where that fits. But at the same time, okay, that happens to look like the spade, okay, because once it sinks into the diamonds here, I'll show you what it looks like. I just made a couple of changes. That's the spade with the half a diamond inside of it. In all actuality, if you want to look at another part of it, now you got the club. You got the club, the heart, the diamond. You got the stand in there. Look at those curly hairs on the side. Do you have any imagination? There's so many faces in here you do not see. It's a little girl. Here. There'll be a guy with a mustache. What do you think the mustache is all about? You see that part of the dice? The mustache is a reminder that somewhere on the roulette table where I can come up with an explanation for exactly what the picture is, that mustache brings together the worlds together. That mustache is holding two worlds together. The side on the left, the side on the right, it's being held. At the same time, it's balancing the two worlds. It's like balancing on her nose, and the two ends are weights balancing the two worlds, and man is in between, upside down. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, Sherlock. Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock Forrest, a sure way to lock your homes. Why did I come up with Sherlock Holmes? Because Holmes and Watson, they were detectives, and if they were detectives, it was a sure thing they'd have to have Sherlock Holmes. So they lived in the forest, and it's separated. And I haven't heard of Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle for a long time. And if they separated, it's because in the forest they built the homes. The Watts, or the Watson, is all the electricity coming into the homes. Sherlock Holmes is the mystery of life, of how we were once in the forest. Old Robin Hood, Sherlock Forest, Robin Hood, Little Red Riding Hood, wolf backwards, flow. Let's go with the fox. Why is it the fox? Because fox is 6, 15, and 24. Fox, 6, 15, 24. Add them each up. 666. Fox, 666. Add up the letter count. The O is 15, 1 and 4. The X is 24.